So it's no secret that Blizzard has been having a really tough year, pretty much starting last November when they announced Diablo Immortal. I myself wasn't really keen on it because honestly it sounded like a great game. I just happen not to be a mobile game player. What's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and we've got so much Diablo news to talk about today that it really is boggling my mind. I'm going to see if Chris is available to do something over at Work to Game as a collab, because the question here is Diablo 4 enough? And the answer might already be no. It looks like Diablo 2 Remastered is also being confirmed as a part of an announcement that's going to be coming out of Blizzcon. Now, when I say the next line, I mean it with the most respect to all parties involved, but we do know that gamers were more upset by the fact of the Diablo Immortal launch than they have been with the recent Hong Kong issues. And I'm making no judgments to anybody, whatever way you fall. I think games should be about games, with some rare exceptions. And so ultimately, with Diablo 4 and Diablo 2 Remastered, that I think is everything that I've been hoping for as a both Diablo fan, but I also am very conflicted. I'm not going to dive into that here because here is the information that we have. Here is what we know. So to be fair, really with all the rumors and leaks as they go, these ones seem more legit than others. Obviously, this is still rumor and speculation. Nothing has been officially announced by Blizzard in this case, but before BlizzCon, it is looking like we're going to see Diablo 4 and Diablo 2 remastered here. And those are going to be hopefully two of the big announcements that they've been maybe kind of hedging their bets on. So the first source is coming from user Metro OW. They've in the past have been shown to be pretty reliable when it comes down to their very confirmations when it comes to these type of announcements. So they've been tweeting it out, talking about anybody who cares, Diablo 4, Diablo 2 Remastered are also going to be announced at BlizzCon 2019. Overwatch 2, which I have it on good authority, that's been coming out for a while. It's going to have both PvE and PvP. Honestly, one of the things about the PvE aspect is very, very nice to hear, because that's one of the things I felt Overwatch has been missing, from the beginning. But they're going on to talk and confirm from another news source, which is a German magazine that is releasing an Art of Diablo magazine, or book in this case, art book, from Diablo, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and Diablo 4. So those are the two sources that are coming out and confirming these things that are happening. And honestly, I am very inclined to believe these based off of conversations that I've had with other people who can't confirm one way or another off the record that it's happening. Now, obviously things can change. Everything is able to change over the course of time. So until anything officially comes from Blizzard Activision, that I would always hold off and just wait to see. But that's why I wanted to put the question to you, and you guys let me know. Is this enough? Does this help solve the issues that Blizzard has been having? Or is this just more, people bailing water from a sinking ship? That's where I really would love to know your opinion. I think when we end up seeing what kind of game Diablo 4 is going to be, what kind of game is it going to be, because when you pair it with the concept of Diablo 2 Remastered, it might give them a lot of leeway to also continue to maybe even piss off their core fan base if they do something drastic. We've heard rumors in the past already that Diablo 4 is going to be built into the Overwatch engine and shooting for some, kind of first-person shooter fantasy aspect. And I don't know whether that is true or not, but it's easily that could have been true, or it could have been something they were testing as a part of, could they put Diablo in the Overwatch engine, and how would that look like and how would it play? Because game development, if you are unaware, it can go through several iterations. They're going to test and try anything to try and find the fun. That's one of the things that Activision Blizzard, as the company, the Blizzard side of it has been known for and has been really good at producing over the course of time. So that is going to be an interesting thing. That's going to make Diablo, or at least BlizzCon, very interesting to see. Chris and I are going to be out there here in a couple of, actually it's like a week and a half now. Oh my gosh. We're going to be out there. We're going to be covering the event. We have purchased all of our stuff way back in the spring. So this has been kind of a mini vacation thing that we're excited about. And despite all the drama and more, it's just going to be something we can sit down and either watch and hopefully get some kind of good news out of, or at least watch the protesters and see what's going on, as well as kind of maybe be able to voice our concerns with the company themselves being on site and more. So we're going to keep you guys apprised of the situation as it develops. And yeah, like we said, I leave the question to you, what you think about this. What are you feeling about this? So this, for my answer to that question, it's complex. I'm still developing it like rationally. Like, what does it mean to be able to have these games? And if these games are amazing, honestly, that's really what gamers care about at the end of the day, that these games are amazing. But there are some real questions. There are some real political maneuvering. And it's unfortunate that stuff has to bleed into our games, but that's kind of the nature of the situation right now. And that's just where I fall on it. I think if Blizzard is smart, they have to lay low. They have to keep their mouth shut and hope that some other form of anger kind of, arises itself. But it's very hard to do that because they've somehow connected themselves with Hong Kong in the situation. And every day there's more news coming out about Hong Kong, which does remind people about what is going on over with just Diablo, and it still reminds them of this past year. I think a lot of the frustration comes from varying different people and different groups, but what I mean by that is that when you look at it, I tweeted it out, that we've been mad at Blizzard for over a year, and it really kind of started off very heavily with last year's BlizzCon. With the announcement of Diablo Immortal, it put Blizzard as a company out of touch with its player base. And then you look at that in comparison with BFA, which launched strong, but then everybody all of a sudden felt like they had lost that connection and that touch to this company they loved. So that helped play into that narrative. Then you have Activision Blizzard laying off over 800 people over the course, just a couple of months from that, despite record profits. And from a business perspective, I get it. You have to be looking 5 and 10 years down the line. You have to, hey, this isn't working. Let's go in a different direction and try something else. I do feel for people who lost their jobs. Chris had friends who lost their jobs at Activision Blizzard at that time, and he's been very conflicted over this past year. From that, then you lead into the summer where you really don't have a year of any games coming out for Blizzard. You really have no pinnacle title that's going to release that's going to essentially capture the imagination of gamers and get them excited about it. What you have is that you have other companies coming in and releasing record-selling games, record-reviewing games, like Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Then you have obviously Bungie leaving the fold and they coming in really strong with Shadowkeep. So you have all of these things that are at least giving a narrative that the company is losing touch, that they're maybe even positioning themselves to sell. And ultimately, we won't know. We'll have to see how this plays out over time. So, and then you have obviously the Hong Kong situation with Blizzchung going into Blizzard and BlizzCon. So I think there's going to be a lot riding on BlizzCon 2019 this year. And it's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So those are just some thoughts that I have. I am definitely frustrated with how Activision Blizzard handles themselves. I think out of the companies this year, the tweets and the memes have been the most interesting and entertaining to watch. But for me, as an individual, I am definitely somebody who stands with Hong Kong. I am definitely rooting for them over there and voicing my opinion to that. And there's nothing I can boycott when it comes to boycott Blizzard right now. But the question is that how long will that extend? Will a Diablo 4 and a Diablo 2 remastered mean all is forgiven? And the biggest kryptonite, the biggest thing that could really impact and give me that crisis of decision when it comes to what makes the most sense, to help and, the world out, in my opinion, is, do we see anything where they offer controller support, cross-play, cross-save, where you're able to kind of jump into these games, especially Diablo 2, especially if it's remastered, and be able to sit here and I can play with a controller, and it doesn't matter where you play, whether you're on PC or console or whatever, just go and play the game. And so we'll have to wait and ultimately see what happens with these classic games. If anything else, we saw how WoW Classic was received very positively. However, that's only being impacted by the Hong Kong situation, and so I could easily see you have a lot of Diablo fans out there that haven't had any support from Activision Blizzard, and what they did last year was a slap in the face. So will this be enough of an apology? And we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and have it remain to be seen what they show off and what we do. And yeah, we'll be there to cover it, and we'll let you guys know what we think when we go hands on, if we get that ability. And yeah, so anyway, for the Soul Nation, this has been Ginger Prime. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you soon, and I'll and good luck to everybody out there. Take care.